The developers abandoned it, left it to die, stopped caring. But the game refused to die. 18 years without a sequel. 6 years with almost no updates. Thousands of bots ruining every match. And it's still alive. More than that, it's thriving. 50,000 players every day. 18 years after release. More than Battlefield 2042. Competing with much newer shooters. This shouldn't work, but it does. This is Team Fortress 2. The game that proved sometimes the community is stronger than its creators. It generated over $1 billion. Created an economy where virtual hats sell for thousands of real dollars. Changed the entire industry. And Valve did it by accident, then just walked away. This isn't a story about a perfectly executed plan. This is about a company that stumbled into printing money, got bored, and left. Leaving behind a community so dedicated, they keep the game alive despite Valve's complete indifference. This is Team Fortress 2, the game that proved players don't need developers, the business model that changed gaming forever, and the strangest success story in the industry. To understand Team Fortress 2, you first need to understand what came before it. 1996. Two Australian university students, Robin Walker and John Cook, built a mod for Quake called Team Fortress. Not a game, a mod. Something they made for free in their spare time while studying. 9 classes, each with specific roles. Medics heal, engineers build, spies infiltrate. Team-based gameplay where individual skill mattered less than coordination. It became one of the most popular mods in gaming. Millions of downloads. A cult following. But here's the interesting part. They weren't trying to build a business. They were just making something they thought was cool. Then, Valve noticed. 1998. Gabe Newell's company had just launched Half-Life. They were looking for talent. They offered Walker and Cook jobs. Not just jobs. They bought the Team Fortress intellectual property, hired the creators, and said, "Make us a sequel." This is Valve's playbook. Find talented people doing interesting things. Acquire them. Give them resources. Get out of the way. Team Fortress Classic launched in 1999 as a Half-Life mod. Free to anyone who owned the game. It was essentially the original Team Fortress rebuilt in Valve's engine. Millions played it. But Valve had bigger ambitions. They wanted Team Fortress 2 to be revolutionary. Here's where things get weird. Team Fortress 2 was announced in 1999, same year as Classic. The pitch: realistic military shooter with cutting-edge graphics. Commander mode, vehicles, elaborate base building. Screenshots looked incredible. Gaming magazines hyped it as the future of multiplayer shooters. Then, nothing. Years passed, no updates, no news. The game became vaporware, a punchline. Team Fortress 2 will come out when Duke Nukem Forever releases, which at the time meant never. Behind the scenes, Valve was struggling. The original vision wasn't working, too complex, not fun. They kept restarting development. Robin Walker later admitted, "We had the technology, but we didn't have the game." Most companies would have cut their losses, shipped something mediocre, moved on. Valve kept going. Because they had one massive advantage: Steam money. By 2006, Steam was printing cash. Counter-Strike, Half-Life, third-party games. Valve had built a digital distribution platform that generated revenue without needing to release new games. This gave them something almost no game studio has: infinite patience. They didn't need Team Fortress 2 to launch. They weren't answering to publishers, weren't hemorrhaging money on a failed project. So they kept iterating, experimenting, trying to find what made the game special. Then, someone made a decision that saved the project. Forget realism, forget military simulation. Make it look like a Pixar movie. Stylized art direction, exaggerated character designs, bright colors, cartoonish violence. The Heavy, a massive man with a minigun he calls Sasha. The Scout, a fast-talking Boston kid with a baseball bat. The Spy, a French infiltrator who could disguise as enemies. Each class had personality, voice lines, animations that communicated character. This wasn't just an aesthetic choice. This was brilliant design. Realistic graphics age badly. Compare a military shooter from 2007 to today. It looks dated. Team Fortress 2 launched in October 2007. 18 years later, it still looks good. Timeless art direction beats cutting-edge graphics every time. But the art wasn't the only innovation. Team Fortress 2 pioneered something that would change the entire industry: cosmetic microtransactions. September 2010, the Manconomy update. For the first time, players could buy virtual items, hats, weapons, accessories, things that made your character look different but didn't make you more powerful. The gaming world was skeptical. Why would anyone pay real money for virtual clothing? Valve proved everyone wrong. Within months, players were spending millions on digital hats. Some rare items sold for hundreds of dollars on the Steam community market. But here's the genius. They made it optional. You could play Team Fortress 2 forever without spending a cent. Every weapon could be earned through gameplay. The only advantage money bought was looking cooler. This model printed money while maintaining competitive balance. Pay to win makes players angry. Pay to look awesome. Players love it. Then in June 2011, Valve made an even bolder move. They made Team Fortress 2 completely free to play. No purchase required. Download and play. Forever. The gaming industry thought they were insane. You're giving away a game that's making millions? Why? Valve understood something competitors didn't. The network effect. Free-to-play removed the barrier to entry. Your friends could play without buying anything. Communities grew exponentially. More players meant more potential customers for cosmetics. A small percentage spending money on millions of free players generated more revenue than selling the game for $40. Team Fortress 2's player count exploded. Within months, it became one of the most played games on Steam. This wasn't just a business decision. This was a proof of concept. Valve demonstrated that free-to-play with cosmetic monetization could be more profitable than traditional sales. Every major publisher took notes. Fortnite, Apex Legends, Valorant, Call of Duty, Warzone. They all followed the blueprint Valve created with Team Fortress 2. But then, something strange happened. Valve stopped caring. Not all at once. Gradually. Updates became less frequent. New content slowed. The community noticed. Is Valve abandoning TF2? Forum posts, Reddit threads, YouTube videos. Valve's response? Silence. Here's the thing about Valve's corporate structure. They have no bosses. Employees choose what projects to work on. This sounds like creative freedom. And it is. But it has consequences. When a project isn't exciting anymore, people move to other things. Team Fortress 2 had been in development since 1999. By 2015, most of the original team had moved on. Some worked on Dota 2. Others on Counter-Strike, Global Offensive. Some on hardware like the Steam Deck. Team Fortress 2 wasn't dead, but it wasn't a priority. The last major update, Jungle Inferno, October 2017. New maps, new weapons, new cosmetics. The community celebrated. Valve still cares. Then, nothing. Years passed. Minor bug fixes. Seasonal events recycled from previous years. But no significant new content. The community kept asking, where's the heavy update? Valve had promised it years ago. Never delivered. By 2020, it was clear. Valve had moved on. But here's what makes this story fascinating. The game didn't die. Most live service games collapse without developer support. Content dries up. Players leave. Servers shut down. Team Fortress 2 just kept going. The community built their own content. Custom maps. Custom game modes. Community servers with unique rules. Creators on YouTube and Twitch kept making content. Soundsmith. Lazy Purple. Uncle Dane. Channels with millions of subscribers dedicated entirely to an 18-year-old game Valve barely touches. The economy kept functioning. Rare hats still sold for thousands. Trading became its own metagame. New players kept discovering it. In 2026, Team Fortress 2 regularly has around 50,000 concurrent players. More than Battlefield 2042. Competing with much newer shooters. 18 years after launch. With minimal developer support. This shouldn't be possible. But it is. There's a dark side to this story we need to address. Bots. Thousands of them. Starting around 2019, Team Fortress 2 became infested with aimbots. Automated accounts that join matches, kill everyone instantly, and spam voice chat with scams and slurs. The community begged Valve to fix it. Petitions, hashtags, #SaveTF2, trended on Twitter multiple times. Valve's response? Minimal. They implemented some basic anti-cheat measures. Not enough. The bot problem persists to this day. Here's what's frustrating. Valve has the resources to fix this. They're worth billions. Team Fortress 2 still generates millions in revenue annually. But fixing the bot problem requires sustained attention. Engineering resources, community moderation, and Valve's structure doesn't incentivize that work. Employees gravitate toward exciting new projects. Fixing an 18-year-old game's infrastructure isn't sexy. It's maintenance. So the bots remain, ruining matches. Driving players away? The community adapted. They migrated to community servers with better moderation. They created their own anti-cheat solutions. Players shouldn't have to do Valve's job. But they do. Because they love the game more than Valve does. Let's talk about what Team Fortress 2 actually achieved. From a business perspective, this game is a case study in accidental genius. Valve didn't plan to create the free-to-play cosmetic model. They experimented. It worked. They scaled it. They didn't plan to abandon the game. They just got distracted. And somehow it kept printing money anyway. Team Fortress 2 generated over $1 billion in revenue, with a relatively small initial investment and minimal ongoing development costs. The return on investment is staggering. Compare this to Call of Duty. Activision spends hundreds of millions annually on development, marketing, and live operations. They need blockbuster sales to justify the expense. Valve spent a fraction of that. And Team Fortress 2 still generates passive income 18 years later. This is the dream scenario for any business. Build something once, maintain it minimally, profit indefinitely. But it only works because of one thing: community. Here's the uncomfortable truth about Team Fortress 2's success. It doesn't validate Valve's approach. It validates the power of community-driven ecosystems. Valve built a great foundation, then they left. And the community loved the game enough to keep it alive despite developer neglect. This isn't replicable. Most games don't have communities this dedicated, but it reveals something important about value creation in gaming. The most successful games aren't the ones with the biggest budgets or most frequent updates. They're the ones that create spaces where players form genuine connections. Team Fortress 2 isn't just a shooter. It's a social space, a place where people made friends, formed communities, created memories. That emotional investment keeps players coming back, even when developers move on. Fortnite understands this. Minecraft understands this. The games that dominate aren't just mechanically excellent. They're social platforms. Team Fortress 2 accidentally became that, and it's why the game refuses to die. There's a final chapter to this story, and it's not over yet. In 2023, Valve hired a team to work specifically on Team Fortress 2, the first dedicated development team in years. They've started addressing the bot crisis, implementing better anti-cheat, banning thousands of malicious accounts. Updates are still minimal, but they're happening. The game isn't completely abandoned anymore. Why now? After years of neglect? Two possible explanations. 1. Microsoft acquired Activision. Suddenly, Counter-Strike and Dota 2 have serious competition. Valve needs to protect their franchises. Team Fortress 2 is part of that portfolio. 2. The community's persistence finally broke through. #SaveTF. 2 got enough attention that ignoring it became bad PR. Either way, Valve is paying attention again. A little. So what can we learn from Team Fortress 2's bizarre journey? First, timeless art direction beats cutting-edge graphics. The game still looks good because they prioritize style over realism. Every developer should take note. Second, cosmetic monetization works if you respect player choice. Valve proved you can make billions without pay-to-win mechanics. Players will pay for self-expression if the base game is fair. Third, communities will sustain products you've abandoned. Team Fortress 2 survived developer neglect because players loved it enough to keep it alive. But you can't plan for that. You can't manufacture that loyalty. Fourth, flat organizational structures have costs. Valve's no-bosses model enables creativity. It also means projects get abandoned when they're not exciting anymore. There's no one to say this needs attention and actually enforce it. 18 years, no sequel, minimal support for half its lifespan. And Team Fortress 2 still has more daily players than most modern shooters. That shouldn't be possible. But it is. Not because Valve is brilliant, because players refuse to let it die. This is the game that proved free-to-play cosmetics could work. That inspired Fortnite's entire business model. That demonstrated games don't need constant updates to survive if the foundation is strong. And it's the game Valve mostly forgot about while it kept making them millions. Maybe one day we'll get Team Fortress 3. Maybe Valve will finally give this franchise the attention it deserves. Or maybe not. Maybe this is enough. A game that refuses to die. A community that refuses to leave. A testament to the power of creating something genuinely great. And then, accidentally, letting it become immortal. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more deep dives like this every week. Let me know in the comments. Do you still play Team Fortress 2? And what keeps you coming back after all these years? See you next time.